All right. So before I have a disclaimer, but before the disclaimer, this is the first time I'm ever doing this talk. I have no idea how long it's going to last. So if you start to get bored, I'm going to just click through slides. But at the same time as well, I have some notes that I kind of have to figure out. But I'm going to start with a disclaimer. You are not going to agree with everything I say tonight. In fact, I'm pretty sure you're going to strongly disagree with a lot that I'm going to share tonight. And that's totally okay. Everybody's business is different. Everybody's cultures are different. You might think some of the things I'm going to share with you today are ridiculous. But I'm willing to bet that there are 3 or 4 nuggets that come out of today that are worth trying in your organizations, if only to make your people feel that the company or you as the owner value them. That just wouldn't work in my company is going to be a thought that comes up often. Use that as something to challenge yourself to say, why not? So what I'd ask you guys to do today is if you have a little notepad or whatever, or mentally just say there's 3 columns. Try it? Definitely not. And at the end of the night, I would love to hear the want to try it and the definitely not. And I want to see if I can persuade you guys to kind of try some things new. Because really, why are you here? Is because you have a good culture, but you think there could be some changes. And if you're not willing to try something, then this is kind of a waste of the next hour or 2 of your time. Yeah. So with that, this is one of the biggest quotes that I believe about culture and in companies is culture is defined by what you celebrate and what you tolerate. What you celebrate reinforces good behaviors. What you tolerate reinforces bad behaviors. So let's take a look at a hypothetical company. Company A is having a banner year. Sales are off the charts. Their sales team has just been crushing it. Meanwhile, people are showing up late to work. Work is sloppy. Management's tolerating this kind of thing because the results are good. Company B, on the other hand, they're not going to make it the same way. They're having an okay year, but at the same time, everybody shows up. Everybody gives their A effort every day. Everybody cares about the results. Management does not tolerate sloppiness, and they let people go quickly. This year, we know which companies can do better. 5, 10 years, which company do you think is in the long run going to do the better job? And I think it's the one, obviously, that has a culture of just holding people accountable. And so that is really a big thing that we're going to talk about today is just accountability. So for today, I talked about this with Vanessa is mapping out the employee journey. There are so many touch points that we can go through, literally starting from before you even meet a person that can define how they feel about your company and the tone that you set with them, straight through to when they leave. There's a lot of very valuable information that you can gain from when somebody leaves that can go to reinforcing your culture. We'll take a break, and then after that, we'll talk about how policies, perks, and benefits can actually really impact the culture of your company. I'm going to introduce something that I just started with our company earlier this year. It's called Culture by Committee. And then I'm going to share just a bunch of little resources that have influenced me and I think would be really helpful for especially us in Toronto. A lot of these are local companies that we work with to get things done. And before I do that, I'm going to put one of my colleagues on the spot here. Her name is Tracy. Tracy, put up your hand. Tracy has worked with me for 6 years. So if there's anything I'm saying that's bullshit, she will probably call me out on it if I know her very well. But at the same time, she is a big kind of vouch for everything we do here is it's part of our culture. It is a part of our DNA as a company. So I'm really curious to get her thoughts on a lot of things too. So here's the employee journey as I see it. I'm sure there's many more steps, but Vanessa said if you go over 2 hours, people are going to charge you for parking. So it starts for me, as far as concerned, as the first contact. The first time a company discovers you, the first time a company reaches out to you, the first time a company even just experiences what you are. In today's world, that is the website. Then you go through an interview process. And then hopefully they're hired. And even the ones who don't get hired, there's something valuable you can do with them for your culture. Then you have your first day. What can you do on the first day? Your first month, the first wins, the feedback and critique is a big part of it. Celebrations is a big thing we do at Moniker, and then exits as well. So we'll go through each step, and I'll kind of like, in your company, you'll figure out what is worthwhile. So hands up, how many of you guys personally have been involved in crafting a job description for the last hire? Okay, great. Was it copy paste, change the duties, or did you actually change the job description? ChatGPT. How many of you have actually changed your careers page in the last year or two? The page where the job, one hand on the website, 2 or 3 hands. Great. So starting with that, starting with a job description is the easiest thing you can do to change your culture. Because like, do any of you guys do like football drafts or hockey pools or things like that? There's like drafting is like you spend this time on trying to attract the right people or pick the right team. And the job posting is really about that. So here's a perfect example. Pizza. Here is a job description for a delivery driver, an entry-level position. We are seeking a dedicated and reliable delivery driver to join our team. The ideal candidate will play a crucial role in ensuring timely and efficient delivery of goods to our customer. This position requires strong communication skills, a commitment to excellent customer service, and the ability to handle heavy lifting. If you enjoy working in a fast-paced environment and have experience in commercial driving, we would love to hear from you. How many people want to apply for that job? Here's Pizza Hut. Working at Pizza Hut is about making hungry people happy. It's about being independent and having fun, making new friends and extra cash. As a Pizza Hut team member, you can be the smiling face that greets and serves customers or a cook that makes things happen in the kitchen. Working with us will give you the financial rewards and flexibility to suit your lifestyle. You'll learn new things, get recognized for your efforts, and learn skills that last a lifetime. If you were a 17-year-old or 18-year-old looking for your first job, which company would you apply for?
Pizza Hut.
That's just a job description.
The pizza's better.
Arguably. But that's just like a very, very simple, basic example. They both sell the same thing, but like even just like the style, you look at their careers page and like I actually had to hide a menu bar. This is such a simple example. So the job posting. I know we have a lot, in EO we have a lot of creative people. Brent, you have a marketing agency. Raj, you have a marketing agency. Write a job description for a job that you would want to apply for. If you're not using language that you use in your office, like in our company, we don't use the words turnkey solutions, dynamic, we don't use that bullshit. So use the words that you would use in your company because it would actually attract people who want to work for you. If you want to be a cool company or attract cool people, be a cool company. Simple as that. It is shocking how many times I see interesting companies like sabotage their hiring because of the language they use on job descriptions. Introduce a gate to sort out the shotgunners. The shotgunners are the ones who I'm looking for a job. I apply for 15 jobs, spray out my resume from the ones who actually give a shit. So here's an example of what we do at Moniker. I love it. It is a very easy way to sort through. On our average, we get about 40 applicants for every job. So this is a recent job. We just filled it. Oh, I don't know how to get to that. There we go. Here's the job description. You'll be great in this role if this role won't be a good fit if blah, 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 blah. Hey, we have designed a little test for you to make sure that you're actually good at budgets. Oh, and by the way, can you answer one of these 4 questions? You would be shocked at how many people apply for this job. This job is, I think, paying $85K. Don't bother to actually answer that question. And it is so easy for us. Uh-oh, I shouldn't have done that. Tracing. Hold 1 second. Oh, 1 second. Now I got to figure out where that went. You'd be shocked at how many times we have job applicants that like just, they don't actually go for it. 1 second, guys. Technical difficulties. Vanessa, tell a joke.
That's definitely a resheet.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yeah, of course.
While you're working that out,
Yeah.
can you tell us how it is that you only get 40 applicants for any job? Because I get hundreds.
Oh, that's actually my next slide, which is working again. Don't post it on Indeed or LinkedIn. Is that what you're doing? Don't do that. Why? Is because you have 1,000 people who are just I'm looking for a salary. They don't care about what you do. They just are looking for a salary. So what we do is first we do a soft launch. We go through our internal network. We ask people to post a job on their personal Instagrams or their personal LinkedIn. Why? Is because like attracts like. The people that work in our company, they know what we do, so they can answer questions to their friends. Like, what is it really like? Like, how often do you travel? Like, what are the hours like? Second, they can actually they'll screen their friends for you. They will tell you whether or not like one of their friends is, I don't think this is somebody I really want to recommend or not. If that doesn't work, then we post it on our career site, and then we put it on the company's Instagram and LinkedIn. And like, I don't think we've ever actually taken it to Indeed or LinkedIn. Like, fewer candidates, better quality. It's always worked out for us. The last time we posted a job on LinkedIn, I swear to God, we got like 300 candidates. I could have thrown out 250 of them. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of time. We just tried for the first time using Recruiter. Recruiters are great for very, very specialized roles. We were looking for a marketing manager, and we had a very specific skill set. But for like general like operations managers, or for us trip planners, like entry level, it's better to go through our own network. I don't have the concrete statistic, but the people who have gone through who we have hired through our network, like 9 out of 10 stay for a long time. The ones who have come in through just like random applications, I'd say like half of them don't last. But that first impression is it really does set a tone. And it's like, for me, I think I consider it super important. Revamp your careers page. Airbnb does a fantastic job of this. Like 2 hands went up when it comes to when was the last time you actually upgraded your careers page. Airbnb, everybody knows what it looks like. This is their careers page. Work at one of the most creative places on earth. Live and work anywhere. We welcome you. Make an impact. They talk about jobs. They talk about where they are. Like, this just is attractive. And it's super easy for anybody who can spend like 30 minutes on their website to make this look a little bit more attractive for job hunters. I would bet that most of your careers pages are buried in like the footer of your page, and it doesn't really sell your company. And then the last thing is this is something we only introduced in the last few years, is create a general interest posting. The best time to find a candidate is when you are not actually looking for a candidate. These are people who are in careers that they don't enjoy. They're in jobs that they're like kind of like meh about, and they're doing their research in their evenings and their afternoons, and they're looking and they find your company and they're like, wow, this actually sounds really cool. If you don't have a job posting, they don't know how else to reach out to you. So we created a very simple general interest page on our careers website. This is our careers website. And you can see we have our values, we have all of our perks, we have videos of what we've done in the last little bit. It's just basically, hey, we don't have any current roles, but if you're interested, here are the type of roles we hire for. If you're curious, here's the gate, apply. If you don't fill out the gate, we won't talk to you. Pretty straightforward. Do not treat this as an afterthought, the careers page. Interview process. I love this quote. If you hire people to just do a job, they'll work for you in exchange for money. If you can find people who believe in what you are building, they will work for you in exchange for being part of something bigger. And the way we do that is we go really far in trying to encourage people who are just starting out the interview process to understand exactly what we do. So here's an email that we actually send every applicant. Hey, I'd love to invite you for a first round. In the first round, you're going to meet with one of our operations managers. Amanda, this is your time to ask any questions about the role, expectations, or clarify anything you would like to know beyond what was outlined in the job description. Blah, blah, blah. Second round. Those invited to the second round will meet again with me, Sydney, and one of our current trip planners. This is an excellent chance of By setting this tone of like, here's what the process is like, I can't tell you how many times we have like met with people and they tell me that they work at companies where like, they didn't know it was 3 rounds. They didn't know it was 4 rounds. Like Google's notorious for having like 7 or 8 rounds of interviews. They never actually tell people that. It's assume that they have like Googled and figured that out. Be up clear about that. This is a very simple templated email that we send to all new applicants, and it really sets the tone that we carry ourselves to a high standard. This is what to expect, and people appreciate it. We also explain the why. What I appreciate is that the best people that we have ever hired tend to be farming a lot of options. And so an A player will have 3 or 4 jobs that they're currently kind of comparing offers from, and they are evaluating you as a company and as a potential job as well as every option. So when an A player sees this, they're like, all right, these guys have their shit together. Like, I'm willing to pursue this a little bit further. Then some companies like, thanks for your application, we'll be in touch. When? Why? How many times? And also, nothing.
Manage expectations that, like, if you're laying out, okay, let's say there's 4 rounds, some people may not make it past the first. Do you mention that at all, or?
Yeah. We be upfront about how long it takes to follow up. We tell people usually in this first round, we're ideally trying to interview 20 candidates. We're going to hopefully whittle it down to 10 candidates by the second round. Hopefully whittle it down to 5 candidates for me, the last round, to speak to. That's going to take probably about a week or 2 to do. And after that, we will be in touch. Every time we finish an interview, we tell them, and Tracy's been in a few interviews with me recently where we'll say, hey, I just want to be upfront. We have like 4 other candidates we're interviewing. The last one's on Friday. Tracy and I are going to circle up on Monday realistically, and we're going to kind of talk about it and hopefully whittle it down to our last 2. We'll tell you by Tuesday afternoon. And they're just like, okay, I appreciate that. So many people in like this 2025, 2026 world just get straight up ghosted. And being a company that actually like is upfront about that stuff is like, you earn respect.
So we do that. We're always upfront and proactive and da. We have been ghosted 4 times after people have signed the contract. Like people have, and this is senior, like I own an accounting firm.
Yeah.
And a law firm. Like these are professionals. They go through the whole process. Everything, they sign back the contract. They don't show up on day 1 and they ghost us. Happens 4 times.
Did you follow up with them?
Oh, yes.
Did you get an answer?
No. We thought somebody got hit by a bus.
I would show up at their door. I would be like, dude.
They'd be at another job that they took.
Yeah, I find that mind-boggling. Like, it's one thing to ghost at an offer, but to sign a contract and then walk away is like, that's very strange.
How do you, through your process, knowing that you need people who are innovative, hungry, different things, how do you find out? Like I find I like to set the expectations. I tell them at the interview, but I don't want to personally lay it out. I want to see how hungry they are. Like to me, that's important. So do you have that?
An A player might find that really off-putting.
That's okay. I don't want it.
Okay.
I need a hungry player. So
Yeah.
I was wondering if you built that anywhere into your process to see, what kind of initiative they have to follow up with.
To test them.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll literally lay out and say like, we'll follow up with you within 2 or 3 days. And if we don't, because whatever, we get busy or something, yeah, if they don't follow up after that point, then I don't think they're hungry. I think we've had a few candidates where we were wondering why they didn't follow up with us. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Luckily for us, it doesn't seem to happen. So we're in a small industry, so if you want to work with what we do, like there's like 5 or 6 choices. I think in like accounting, obviously, there's a million choices, and so. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that skills can be trained, but culture and attitude can't. Can you go through someone's and the most interesting things for me are always on the second page. We work in the hospitality industry. If somebody has experience working in a restaurant, retail, or specifically a summer camp, they are used to dealing with pains in the asses all day long. And if you are good at dealing with pains in the asses working retail, restaurants, or summer camps, you'll get what we do. You'll be able to put up with it. I don't really care what your recent experience is. We have people on our team who have, I'm just trying to think. One of our best employees was a activation something on a cruise, Royal Caribbean Cruises. We have people who worked in Absolutely nothing to do with what we do, but you just get a sense from them during the process that like this person is going to give it their all. They're going to try hard, and it's easy to do. This is how we do our interviews. The first interview is the person who's going to be their manager, and that's basically if your manager doesn't like the person, what's the point of continuing this process? So we ask basically 2 general questions, and this is usually a 30-minute interview. Do you really have the skills for the job? Let me add, like, I see your resume, you've seen the job description. We're going to go through line by, like, do you understand, like, on a day-to-day basis, you're gonna be doing this, you're gonna be in Excel, you're not gonna be traveling, tick, 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 tick. Do I think that you'll fit in well within my team in terms of, like, your expectations of how many hours you're going to work and things like that? If it doesn't pass this person, there's no point to go to the next rounds because this will be the person that evaluates them.
Candidate, or that's just the manager?
Those are the questions that we have, like a list of questions that they go through, but those are the 2 things that we're trying to answer. Do we see this person fitting on that particular manager's team? Peers, the second interview is we put them in an interview with usually 2 of the people who they would be working with on a day-to-day basis. And this is, do you understand what is involved in the day-to-day? We call it open the kimono. So this is like where we show them, here are the spreadsheets that we use, here's the platforms that we use. We are on Zoom and we show them in a shared screen, like this is exactly what your day-to-day would look like. Half of it is trying to scare them off. Like a lot of people, PR, marketing, travel, ad agencies, there's this glamorized view that like, oh, this is gonna be the best, most exciting, cool job ever. But like what we do is 6 months of spreadsheets for 6 days on the ground. And we want to reinforce this view that actually what we do sucks. Like we spend most of our days in spreadsheets and platforms. And are you still interested? And then also the peers is like, you're going to be working with these people on a day-to-day basis. Do they see themselves getting along with you? And then the last interview should be the founder or the CEO. And that should be about fit. You know your culture better. You know the type of people you want in your company. I like the phrase cut from the same cloth. You can suss out what I call behind the mask is like, I start off my last round interviews the same time every way. I say, hey, this is not an interview. I just want to get to know you. Take a deep breath. I just want to talk to you. And a lot of the times they're like, okay. Some of them show up with little like blazers and jackets for their interview. I say, take it off. Like let's just chill. And you put them at ease and you ask them a whole bunch of random questions. One of my favorite questions is, what series should I be watching right now? And it tells a lot of people are like, oh yeah. Have you seen Breaking Bad? I'm like, no, I haven't. You just start talking and the conversation goes places. You start to figure out a lot about a person's just like personality and things. And then I'll steer it back to what we're actually after is, why do you really want to work here? Are you leaving a job that is a sinking ship and this is your lifeline? Do you really want to work here because you love what we do? Is this a bigger salary? Like, what is the real motivation that you want to work here? Most of the time, they don't realize it, but they'll actually tell you. This is a really, really good book. Has anybody been in EMP? Yeah, it's fantastic. Did Jeff Smart speak to your class? He's great. Did he jump on a table?
He slid down the rail.
He's a bit of a character. But he has a really good book on interviewing, and I read this, and the 3 main points, I'll sum it up so you can save a guy jumping on a table or sliding down a rail. Don't hire on gut instinct. As entrepreneurs, we think we're so great at hiring on instinct. We're not. We think we're hiring people, and we have this like, I think personally, I'm like 60-40 on hiring, but the good thing is that now that we've introduced these 2 rounds before it gets to me, I'm 60-40 on hiring really good candidates. So most of them are going to be great anyway. Hiring is really hard. Always be recruiting. This is like the general interest thing. Have it always going. That's the first place. Go to the well is like go to where people who have applied for your company before you even had a job posted. Great tool. And as a CEO, when you're out and you're at an event or you're networking, you're telling people what you do and people are like, oh, wow, tell me more. That sounds interesting. You're actually talking to either somebody who might apply for you or somebody who knows a friend, family member, or whatever who could eventually be an employee. Don't waste those opportunities. And for the last one is like try to figure out who they are behind the mask. Especially in the era of ChatGPT, what are good ways to answer the question? Like, what are your weaknesses? Like, everybody has those answers. They know what you want to hear. Like, trying to get behind those are the hardest things. He has a great method where it's just like, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And like, after 5 times asking somebody, tell me more, they get to the point where like, okay, fine, here's what happened, really. It's a really good book. It's like, it's not long. It'll take you an hour and a half to read. Highly recommend. The first day. How many people remember their first day at a new school, at high school? It's nerve-wracking. What are the feelings that come out?
Nervous. Excited.
Excited, nervous, anxious. It is, as an adult, it's the exact same feelings on your first day at a new job. You don't know anyone. You've met maybe the founder, 1 or 2 people through the interview process. You don't know anybody. You're also kind of like, oh shit, I hope this was the right decision. And it is so important to capture that opportunity to make it a positive experience. So they go home at the end of the day, they go home to their spouse or their partner and say, oh my God, I'm so excited for the tomorrow, as opposed to, oh my God, what have I done? And that's why I fully believe the secret to corporate culture is not about ping pong tables, pizza, pints after work. It's about community. I like the word tribe. It's no longer politically correct, but people want to be a part of a tribe that they feel that they belong to. Sports teams, Bills Mafia, clothing brands, and even loyalty programs. These are examples of companies that have created tribes out of their customers. And I can name 100 other examples, but it's something we can learn as entrepreneurs who run our own companies, is how do you create a tribe where people are willing to paint their face. At some point, this man was sitting at home and he was looking in front of a mirror for a good 30 minutes, painting his face, and then he put on a fur hat. And he thought that was totally normal because he's part of the tribe of the Bills Mafia. And anybody who owns Alo knows it's like a cult. Tribes create engagement, loyalty, camaraderie, and that's where culture is built. But tribalism begins on day 1. The welcome aboard kit. Do you guys do something like this for your employees on first day? Hands up. Here are great examples of welcome aboard kits. BCG, this is kind of a boring one, but BCG, Boston Consulting Group, great consulting company. On day 1, Canon, they give you photography equipment. Brooks is a running company. They give you a penny. They give you all the stuff. Google, they give, this hat has like a story behind it. I don't know. Meta. These are great examples of what people get on their first day at work, and it really goes a long way to making people feel part of the team, excited. We are a fully remote company. We had somebody started yesterday. Excuse the layer of Vaseline she has on her lens, but this is what we do. So we'll send balloons to their house. There's a balloon that says, welcome to Moniker, Sarah. This is a custom box that has our branding on it. It has swag, t-shirts, everything's in her size. Handwritten note. This whole box costs $60, all in. The balloon's probably the most expensive thing. Balloons are expensive nowadays. But like, how awesome is she? Personally wrote me a little DM on Slack, and she was like, this is so cool. I've never had a company do this for me. And for me, it's like, that whole thing was like $150 for a first impression. We call them donuts, but every company, like your first day of school, what's the first, like it comes lunchtime, you don't know where to sit, you don't know what table you're at. Like, I think most of you guys are in office companies. Like, it's nerve-wracking. You go to the lunchroom, you don't know who to sit with. So we make a point to schedule donuts for new employees that their first like 2-3 weeks, they have like a 15-minute chat with every single employee in the company. And this is to get them to meet everybody. Like Sarah, who just joined us on Monday, she's gonna be a bookkeeper. There's realistically no world in where she's gonna talk to our people on the sales team. So let's make sure that she meets them in the first 2 weeks so that when she starts to see their faces on huddles and stuff, it's not awkward. We give them silly icebreaker questions like, what's your death row meal? favorite Disney movie, things like that, just to get it going. But it's really interesting to see how fast people are like, oh, I didn't realize that like you also grew up in Burlington. Like, it's do this for new employees. And then the onboarding bingo checklist. So this is the checklist. There's two ways to do this. The way I like to do it is, here are things that you should know by 60 days or 90 days. But the onus is on you to go find those people to figure it out. So one of them might be, you need to know how to request vacation. You should go talk to Sydney to figure that out. Go figure it out. So that new person has to go DM Sydney and say, hey, I need to figure out how to do vacation. Do you mind hopping on a call for like 5 minutes and walking me through that? And she has about 14 or 15 of these tasks to go through in her first month. And it forces her to introduce herself to a lot of people. This is an EMP speaker. His name is Arnie Melham. This is what their checklist looks like. The first day, like, this is what you're gonna do. And then it literally goes through like, you need to have your email signature done. You need to figure out how to do your calendar. You need to figure out, get your Skype for Business set up, who to talk to, what time, a checklist, all of that. These are awesome for two reasons. One, it gives that person like, oh, I have an excuse to go message all of these people. But at the same time is at the end of 60 days, they're going to tell you, hey, I still don't know how to do this, this, or this. And they're going to give you, okay, great, that's good feedback. We need to add step 15, how to do this, this, or that. We had, we call them hackathons, but every year employees put up their hand and say, I want to do a presentation to the company of like things that I think we should be doing better. And we had 2 new employees who just had gone through their onboarding, and they actually came to us and said, we have some ideas for how you can do a better onboarding. And I think, I have the link in a second, I'll walk you through it, but like, it's impressive what they have transformed our onboarding experience to. But that is the easiest place that you lose someone's enthusiasm if they have a shitty onboarding experience.
2 quick questions. The Donuts thing, is that in person or that's virtual?
Donuts is a Slack app. If you're an in-person office, coffees.
We only have office once every 2 weeks, so
So Donuts, do you use Slack?
yes.
This is a great app.
Okay.
It'll be like, bing, hey, it's your time to like meet up with so-and-so. It's in their calendar. And then it actually gives them like questions and stuff. I think it's $50 a month, but it's very, very well worth it.
My second question is, are we going to get this presentation?
I have to scrub some things because there's like serious company information in here and links, but yeah, definitely. Yeah. If it's good, I mean, at the end of the day, it sucks. Might change your mind. I love this line, is that first impressions can either create momentum or despair. That first day of school, you know, like, oh my God, this is not the school for me. What have I done? Same with jobs. We're all adults, but at the same time, like our brains aren't that far off from where we were. We're still anxious. We're still nervous. It is absolutely imperative if you have an in-person office that person's manager and their peers take them for lunch on that first day. If they are going for lunch on their own, you have failed. That is such a simple thing. But it's like, they don't have friends yet. And like just going out for lunch with them, it just like, it shows them like, you're part of the tribe now, like get into this. In our environment, in a remote environment, it's a little bit different. But this is something like under no circumstances is like, oh, sorry, one team member has a call, they have a meeting. You know someone's hiring date like weeks in advance. Move the call. Make sure that everybody's there to show that they're a priority. And then as a CEO, you should always have a check-in at the end of the first day. Hey, how did it go? And at the end of the first week. I have a call booked with Sarah at 4 p.m. on Friday. How was your first week? How did it go? Is it overwhelming? It just shows them that like we actually care about your experience here. First month. We introduced this about a year ago. So we realized that like every company has great onboarding for like the skills, the training, how to do your vacation, how to do your benefits, all this and that. But very few people could answer questions is like, when is it actually cool for me to leave the office? How seriously do you guys take Halloween? For the holiday party is like, what should I expect? Like those kind of questions that are like kind of awkward. We introduce a culture buddy. We ask people, hey, there's a new hire. Who wants to be their culture buddy? We usually get 3 or 4 hands go up immediately. And it's just somebody to kind of like walk them through those questions. It's like somebody to be their contact in case there's a question that isn't work related. Super easy, and it also immediately gives them a friend from day one that they can like hang out with or go for a coffee with. And then committees. I'm going to leave this link unclicked because I'm going to get into it later on. This is our culture by committee. But we have a ton of committees. We have a holiday party committee. We have our retreat committee. We have a committee for birthdays, celebrations. New employees, give them like 2-3 weeks to kind of settle in, and then bam, throw them into a committee. It forces them to like hang out and meet new employees pretty quickly. And at the same time, like they're just all of a sudden like, oh shit, okay, like I guess I'm part of the team now and the culture here. It also gives them like new friends to hang out with in the company. Super easy. Every company should have committees of some sort. It could be like, who's handling the awards this year? Who's handling the summer offsite? Whatever you do. This is one of the, when I ask people, usually I have a 30-day and I have a 90-day check-in with new employees. They always say that like, oh, I love that like you guys have all these things going. Thank you for including me. We also do our checklist. So this is our checklist. It's intense. So this is Sarah. She started on Monday. Oh, she's already 3 things in. Good for her. She has like, here's what you need to do in your first week. You need to set up your email, which I'm pretty sure she's done. So I'm just going to check that off for her. She needs to get her Slack. She got to get her photo, her role. She needs to set up her Humi. She needs to make sure that her payroll thing is set up. On top of that, here's what we need you to know by 1 month. Here's what we need you to know by 3 months. Here's what your first few weeks look like in terms of the donuts are now called speed dating. I work in a company with predominantly women, and I'm a guy, so I don't like that term. But you get it. Like she already has like who she's going to be meeting for the first few weeks. Specific to her role, she has a checklist of things that she's going to need to know by the 90-day mark. She has an org chart. So who's Amanda? We have 3 Amandas. So like, which Amanda are we talking about? Are we talking about Amanda D? Are we talking about Amanda L? Are we talking about Amanda B? So we have an org chart. It's just like a simple reference for her to be able to check. FAQs, we have a dashboard I can show you in a second. She'll hear a lot of acronyms. A lot of us work in industry where there's acronyms. Somebody new coming to the company does not necessarily know what F&B means.
Food and bev.
Food and bev. Anybody else know that? Food and bev? There's tons of terms and acronyms that we include. So I don't expect her to actually read 120 lines of these things, but it's just there in case she hears something. And then we also include, even though she's a bookkeeper, this is how a retreat is planned from start to finish. Like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense. It's helpful for her because especially in a bookkeeper role now, when we're like, she starts to see a whole bunch of invoices coming around for flights, and then she starts to see hotels, like she understands where those projects are in the timeline. And I'm sure in each of your organizations, you have something pretty similar. Our employee dashboard, it's pretty janky. I wish it looks a little bit sexier, but we made this in Google. This is really easy to make. And it's really easy to update. We had goals, this is like blah, blah, blah. This is where anybody can go to find out processes, links to policies, benefits.
What platform is this?
This is Google. This is like Google. Do you know how it works? I don't know. I just tell people and they do it.
It is Google.
Yeah, it's just Google. It's really easy. I'll tell people like, hey, can you add this file? And then it's like done 8 seconds later. It's impressive. I don't know how to do it though. That's bad.
Who doesn't?
Everybody else.
Okay.
Everybody else.
Okay.
So we use that like 30-day. Sometimes it's 60 depending on the time. But a big thing about this is like, hey, we actually give a shit how your first month was. It's impressive how many companies don't actually follow up with like how somebody's experience is going in the first month. And like, if you're a new employee, you're like, okay, I guess I'm just a number. I always ask people, what are we doing wrong? We've had people come from big companies. Like we hired somebody who worked at like BMO, for example, in their events business. And I was like, so I'm sure BMO has great processes and things. Like, what can you teach us? Also, like, they'll find out, like, it's a fresh set of eyes who has absolutely no fucks to give. So they'll tell you, like, I don't understand why you guys do this and duplicate it and then duplicate it again and then somebody sends it here. Like, yeah, that's valuable feedback. There's so many, like, this just the way we've always done it is such a problem in companies that have been around for a while because people stop questioning why it is that way. New people are an amazing source of that perspective. And then from an onboarding perspective is we always ask people, is there something that we didn't cover? And then we ask them to actually write that next step and add it to the document because they would know how they would want it added. Yeah, that first 30, 60 days is so valuable to figure out. Like, the trouble is if you don't ask, people won't tell you. First wins. I call this sunshining. This is stolen right out of a book called No Rules Rules by Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix. You'll see it at the end, but I love this quote. There are only two things people want more than sex and money: praise and recognition. It's true. Hockey fans? Do you know who this guy is? Who's saying yeah? That's Easton Cowan. He was drafted in the first round by the Leafs 2 years ago. And this is Max Domi and this is Nicholas Robertson. They're like mainstays on the Leafs. This belt is given to the player of the game in the Leafs locker room by the players, and they gave it to this rookie who's like 19 years old upon scoring his first goal. How fucking amped up do you think that kid is? Right? Like, these guys are his heroes. They're been around the league for quite a few years. That kid is jazzed. He's now part of the team. He's part of the locker room. Why don't we do this in companies? Right? Like, most sports teams, they give a shovel. They give I think the Calgary Flames give like a miner's hat. There was something that you could learn from a company perspective. So I call it sunshining, but it's like praise and recognition is just like shining light on good things that are happening for two reasons. Is one, like, creating a spotlight on positive behaviors reinforces it. And then the second side of it is it creates this like loop of gratitude and appreciation. Our team, the way we do it, every Friday we have a huddle. The first thing on the agenda is wins of the week. This is for people to just talk about something. Like, we finally finished this project. We finished the reconcile. My husband and I finally finished the reno that we were doing. Just positivity. It's a great way to start your Friday. Shout outs. We encourage people to say, hey, I want to shout out Tracy for doing this on this project. Our team takes it a little too far where they just start celebrating like literally everything that everybody does. So it buys time, and I try to say, hey guys, above and beyond only. But if you can tie it to your values, like, hey, I want to shout out Brent because last week, like, I had some problems with something, and he took the time to like speak to me about this and this. It's just creating this culture where people are like looking and sharing praise, and then spotlights. This is recent for us, but we give the stage over to teams that have recently finished a project to talk about like how it went. Here are the highlights. Here are some photos. Here's the great parts. Here are the bad parts. Here's the lessons that we need to learn. They're usually really jazzed to share something that they've been working on for 5-6 months with the rest of the team, because otherwise the rest of the team would not see it. They would not know. And then as the owners, make sure you are talking to your vets and saying, specifically to the ones who are their managers, on Friday's huddle, can you please find something to praise the new employees with? Give them that belt in the first few weeks. It just gets them really excited about working there, and it just makes them feel really appreciated. I will set up a call with Sarah next week. It will be absolutely spontaneous. And I'm going to say, hey, Sarah, I really appreciate that you did this and this. It won't be in her calendar. She won't be expecting it. And she'll have this moment after the call where she's like, sees the CEO's calling. She'll be like, oh shit. But then afterwards she'll be like, okay. that was actually pretty cool. I didn't realize he even noticed I did that. I'm going to have to ask our manager what she did, but it works. And I will also, the first time she actually finishes like a project, I will be the one to shout her out on a public call. And especially as well, like she's going to be thrown into a committee. We don't know what it is yet, but I will make sure that somebody on our team spotlights that like Sarah's been kicking ass at her involvement in our lunch and learns lately. Feedback and critique. Oh, my favorite subject. Average players want to be left alone. Good players want to be coached. Great players want to be told the truth. Feedback. Have you guys read Radical Candor? Great book. Basically, it's like how to give feedback without pissing someone off. If you deliver feedback right and the person knows that it's coming from somebody who respects them, it's coming from a place of like wanting to help them, it's okay. But if those two variables are not ticked, it doesn't go well. But I see it as it demonstrates that the person giving it to you actually cares about your development. There are people in companies that like they're low-ranking employees, CEOs don't really care if they get better or not because it's just not worth the effort for them to have that conversation. But when you actually take the time and you sit down, I usually try to do this outside of like a formal structure. It shows that person like, I want you to be better and here's the feedback that I have to give for you and this is why. We have set up a whole bunch of different loops. The key to feedback is it has to go in both directions. If it's only coming top down, your employees will always feel lectured at. But if it's going both ways, then you have this reciprocity that leads to like mutual respect. The way we do it is 3 ways. The first one is one-on-ones. So one-on-ones are monthly, they're recurring, they're in your calendar. It's only with your direct reports. It's a quick 30 minutes and there's a preset agenda I'll get to in a second. So I have a one-on-one with Tracy, I have a one-on-one with Sydney, I have one-on-one with like 5-6 people. Pulse checks, this is company-wide. If you're not doing something like this in your company right now, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. This is a quarterly survey that gets sent out. How are we doing? How are you feeling about the company? How are you feeling about your work-life balance? Da, 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 da. It's anonymous if you choose, but you are able to put your name so we can follow up with you about the feedback. There has been incredible feedback has come from this. There's been times I want to slip my wrists when I read this feedback. You can definitely attest, Tracy, but we track this and we share the results publicly. Hey guys, here's how the team is feeling about the last 3 months. Here's how it stacks up to the last 10 quarters. And here a summary of the feedback. Sometimes we'll highlight specific comments, but we try to kind of capture a summary and keep it anonymous. And we act on it. And then 360s. We do these semi-annually, so once in the summer, once in December. It's totally anonymous feedback. And it's from your manager, your peers, and your reports. So you're getting feedback from everybody around you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you do anonymous feedback? Like, we tried it a couple of different ways. Obviously, email is not anonymous. We put a box in the kitchen and people could write things out. People know their handwriting or whatnot.
Do you have a HR platform? We use a thing called Humi, but you can just use Typeform. Typeform's relatively free. It's like $20. It's good. It's anonymous because it's typed. And people can choose. There's also logic you can put in, like if you want to leave more comment, then it opens a box. If you don't, then it just moves to the next question. Typeform is a really slick way of doing it. My espresso martini's in the way. This is the agenda that I have for my one-on-ones. I'm sure everybody has it different, but it's what was your biggest win last month? What did you struggle with most? Is there anything you'd like feedback on? Is there anything you want my guidance? Do you have a problem I could help you solve? And is there any new ideas or initiatives? The conversations don't always go like this, but it's sent in advance. And the hope is that if one of these things is, oh, actually, yeah, I would like your feedback on this. That's good. The most common one is this one. I didn't get a lot of praise or feedback from my dad when I was growing up, and so I just naturally don't give it to other people. And I realized that I work with millennials, and so I need to give more feedback and praise. And so asking this question to them, they'll be like, yeah, I finished this big project I've been working on, and like I didn't really hear how your thoughts are on it. Fair. Okay, well, let me tell you. And this seems to only come up on our one-on-ones, and it wouldn't if I didn't ask. Our quarterly pulse checks, this is what they look like. So this is the most recent one. How are you feeling about the current state of Moniker? What's your current outlook regarding the future of Moniker? I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day. My job performance is evaluated fairly. In the last 3 months, I've received recognition or praise for it. Like, there's a whole bunch of questions. I think we're doing pretty good. Anything that is 6 or below, we will follow up on. What's really cool is that our company almost entirely actually puts their name. We'll get two people went anonymous, so we can figure them out. But the rest of them are comfortable giving their feedback because they know that, like, for example, like Sid G is not feeling comfortable giving her opinion to others, and at this moment she does not feel like she has the capacity to finish her work in a timely manner, and so we'll follow up with that. Yeah. Overall, what is something we are doing well and should continue? And if you could change one thing about this company to make it a better place to work, what would it be? Simple questions. We do this every quarter. And this is what we'll have a huddle, a meeting, an all hands, whatever. And we will show them that over time, this is how it goes. We can lump the questions into certain categories, but like it's really helpful for us to understand, like, honestly, I think we're pretty steady. And like it's funny, I don't have the data from COVID, but you can tell when COVID was happening. But we're doing okay. So it's really helpful for us to like understand where the company's at, where their sentiments are at. This is like the topics that we cover. And if anybody wants the questions that we use, I'm happy to share them. But it's like, how are you feeling about currently and our future? Right now, we have a great current. Our future is looking dicey. I want to know if the rest of the team feels as dicey as I do. Are you happy with your job? Do you like it? Are you feeling good about our culture? Are we doing a good job? Do you feel like there's a clear path and understanding for like promotions and raises? Do you feel overworked? I put an asterisk beside that for the younger you are. And health, wellness, and feeling fairly valued is just like where we ask people, like, how do you feel about your compensation? Is it fair for what you feel you contribute to the company? Surprisingly, we usually get like 8.5 on that. Our 360s, as I said, it's like manager, direct reports, and peers. Usually it's delivered by the manager and one other. Ideally, in an in-person environment, it would be delivered in a non-boardroom settings, like a coffee in the lobby, whatever. Doing it in a boardroom, just everybody's just like a little extra tense, and it just makes it, you won't be as free as you would. And I like to end it with these 4 questions. What are your takeaways? Are there any surprises? Do you acknowledge the feedback you got? Is there anything you want to work on? What's the plan of action? And when are we going to measure it? Very straightforward. Speaking of feedback, I usually use the shit sandwich. You're good at this, you suck at this, but you're good at this. But then I realized that a lot of people were like, they'd walk away thinking that that was a good thing. They think the conversation went positively and they'd forget the shit in the middle. I went to EMP and I forget who it was, but they introduced us to this PPC method. Positive. I highly value a relationship, and I wanted to have this conversation because I have tremendous respect for what you contribute to your organization. You're very good at XXX. Potential, point out where this could potentially lead to an undesired outcome. But because of this, I think you have the potential to not see when blah, blah, blah. Highlight your concern with what happens if they don't address the issue. No. So I can do this on the spot. Brian, I really appreciate that you're very decisive and you have a lot of initiative. Unfortunately, I feel that this has the potential to make other people in your team feel that their opinions don't matter as much, or that like you're going to do what you're going to do without consulting them before your course of action. My concern is that this is going to make them feel a little bit like kind of like sidelined, or that they're not part of your team. So here's what I think we should do. I think for the next 30 days that you're going to spend some time before any decision. You're going to ask your team if they have any input, if you want to share some decisions. And from there, we'll see what happens. Shall we check in 30 days? Huh. Does that sound negative? No, it's feedback. It's not a shit sandwich, but people usually are like, okay, that's fair. PPC. I started doing this and people thought it was a lot nicer. Did you kick something, Rishi?
No. Pure.
I'm almost at the intermission, so we're good. And I'm ahead of time, which I'm impressed with.
Okay, he's also IT, so.
More questions in the meantime?
So, I mean, I'm very impressed with everything you're presenting, but how did you even start developing some of these processes, right? 'Cause some of them, I'm guessing, took a lot of time to kind of put together. Like, did you use a consultant? Who did this for you?
So, as Vanessa said, my first few years, I was a shit manager. That was her words, by the way.
I didn't say that.
It was a shit sandwich, but it was
For the first 4 years, I don't think I have a single person who's still left. I actually don't have a single person who's still left. At the 5-year mark, I have almost every single person who's still left. A lot of it, I just started realizing that other people aren't me. And how would I used to work at a bank, and banks suck. And I just started to realize, like, how would I actually want to run this company? Would I want to work here? Would I want a boss who does this to me? A lot of it is just thinking, like, to be a good human, what would this company need to be? If it was, like, no, we didn't hire a consultant. I do read a lot of books. I'll share them with you. There's 4 books that in particular have really influenced me. But a lot of it is just like, if you are a good human, I'm sure we can draw that out into your company. It's just a lot of people treat their businesses like they should just be places of employment and compensation. And I disagree with that. I get into battles with people about, like, companies can be more than a place to work.
Sorry. In terms of you had a 30-day review there.
Yeah.
So I have a question, like right now we have a 30, 60, and 90-day review, and then 6 months. And we're just in the process, like literally today we sat down to kind of thinking about pulling it back a bit because we think it's too much for, like, it's HR and a manager that meets with the new hire for each of those marks. So
Split it up.
Yeah, so we're leaving it to like the manager.
Yeah.
The 30, the 60, and then the 90 days. Those are 2 separate meetings, one with HR, one with the manager. But I guess I wanted to understand, like, who would be running each of those.
So the 30-day would typically be the manager and me. And then at the 60 or 90 day, it would just be me. Yeah.
But at what size company?
Yeah, great, yeah. What size is your company?
We've got about 25 to 30.
Yeah, we're 23. Same idea.
I'm curious to hear your point of view as you scale, right? Because with the 17, 20 employees, everything you're saying is very effective. Like, I don't want to say easy, but it's possible, right? As you scale, and assuming you have like 100, 200 employees,
Yeah.
that doesn't become more a reality that you can literally see with every single feedback.
It does not.
So how would you see that scaling up? I do have a couple people, but I would love to hear.
Yeah, no, I haven't thought that far ahead. If we were 100 employees, which I definitely don't want because I already struggle with 25 employees, I would just say it would probably be like if somebody works in like the engineering department or the sales department, whoever the equivalent of the CEO for that department would be the person doing that. It makes no sense for me to go down to employee 2. Yeah, we have 25 people. It's very manageable. I know everybody, their partners, the dogs, not the cats. We're pretty good. Celebrations, my favorite thing. Celebrations are an opportunity for companies to showcase what they actually care about and what deserves a spotlight, coming back to the spotlight thing. They're also a great opportunity to find what your culture cares about outside of just job performance. So work anniversaries, how many of you guys do something when somebody's hit their 1 year, their 3 year, their 5 year? Okay, half of the group. It doesn't need to be big. So here's what we do. Well, actually, these are other examples. I'll show you what we do in a second. It doesn't need to be big. So there's a company. They're based in Waterloo. It's called Chocolate Soup. They will send you, if you have an office, they will send you a box of Lego with different heads, different wigs, different things, and people can build their own little Lego minifig, and then they will do the homework for you to say that Megan Hall hit her 1 year, her 2 year, her 3 year. She got a promotion. She did. These little tokens sit on people's desks. This thing in total costs like $60. My brother did this. He introduced me to this. He had a company of 200 people. And I remember walking through his office and I was like, that is so cool. Everybody had these on their table. It was like a badge of honor to how tall was your stack. If you were working on a big deal, how tall was your stack? And I couldn't get the photo, but I've seen places where like when you hit your 5 year, they give you a bobblehead. This is $70 from a Canadian company based in Burlington. It's so fun. You send them a picture, you do a little back and forth, and then they send you a bobblehead. You can even tell them exactly what you want the shirt to look like. You can put whatever you want there. They're completely customized. But this is like, it becomes this like, oh, you got your bobblehead? I don't have my bobblehead. It becomes this like token that people kind of like trade in. There's also this amazing website, which I don't want Tracy to know about, although she probably has figured this out yet. It's called Handwritten. Yeah, they do robo handwritten notes. You can choose from like 50 different styles of handwriting. I actually write in all caps. So there's one that looks like me. You can choose if you want a blue ink, you want a black ink, I don't know how much we pay for it. It's definitely not expensive. You can, at the beginning of the year, it says, what do you want to write for these people this year? So this person's 5 year anniversary is coming up. Write the note, you type it out, and it will handwrite it and send it a week before the 5 year anniversary. On every single person's birthday, they get a handwritten note. Hey, Megan, so excited for your birthday. It will do the mailing for you. It will do the writing for you. This is such a great tool. And I get these notes from people, and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for the handwritten note. I'm like, yeah. We also have free gifts. Like we have, once you hit 5 years, you get a 5th week of vacation. It could also be perks. Like you don't have to give it as a monetary benefit, but it is important to make it significantly more important as they go on. It could be with promotions, it could be with tenure and in years, but I will say do not cheap out on this. If it's like, hey, you've hit 5 years, here's bookends. Like, it's like, oh, really? That's it? That's all I get? Bookends? I worked at Scotia Capital before I started my company, and there was a guy, I remember we all got rallied into the boardroom, and this guy was celebrating 30 years at Scotiabank, and they gave him a plaque. It was like a wooden plaque that you got from one of those like, shopping mall places. And we all had to do this little like clap thing. And it was just like, oh my God, if I was here for 30 years and they gave me a $20 plaque, like what am I doing with my life? I felt so bad for him, and I realized like, make this stuff fun. I bet you that plaque probably costs as much as these things, but they're proud to put that on their desk. There's companies that do jackets. So Roots, if you've worked at Roots for 5 years, they give you like a bomber jacket with like your name on the back and things. There's so many ideas you can just Google. But like work anniversaries and milestones celebrate loyalty. They encourage people to make the 3rd year, make the 5th year. Company awards. Do you guys have company awards? 1, 2, really? Okay, good. All right. We have company awards. They happen. Our company goes on retreats twice a year. Once in January and once in August. So in January, we give away awards, the Moniker Awards. Those are our awards. Our company mascot's a pug. We have 3 versions of that. There are 3 pugs doing yoga. One's yellow, one's red, one's green. I won the Culture Champion in 2022 award. And it's an anonymous vote, 100% anonymous. We tie it to our values. So we have 6 values. There's 6 awards. We had to kind of shoehorn some of the words to tie into a value, but there's ways that you can celebrate good behavior and encourage people to do like the right thing by giving them an award. We also, we attach a monetary award so people actually give a shit. So if you win an award, you get $500. It's not that much money, but all of a sudden there's like, oh, okay, here's my award. What am I going to do with it? But it's like, oh, okay, I actually got $500 for this award. So people actually care about it. For 6 people one time a year, it's not a big number. And I would really recommend considering introducing some awards, making a super big deal about it at a company gathering, because in my experience, like Deloitte just did their award show at the AGO a few days ago. One of my friends works at Deloitte. holy crap, did they go all out? It's crazy. And that's a big deal for people. And at the end of the day, like, awards are, you create them. So for me, it's sunshining. It's like showing recognition, but it's the people that you want to spotlight. We have MVP of the year. Help me. We have, we used to call it the most improved player, but then we figured out that that was probably not kosher. So we called it the something better to say that you are the most improved. Culture champion, the person who contributed the most of their time to like improving our culture. Unsung hero, somebody who doesn't get as much praise and recognition publicly, but like is the glue of the organization. And I don't remember the other ones. Yeah, you can tie it to your values, but it's so important and it's so easy. People will come to me and say, I'm really hoping I win like the MIP award this year. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Holidays and birthdays. I love shenanigans has been renamed shenanigans in the company. But it's like our company, we're 25 people, we work all the time together. We have a lot of fun outside of work. This was our most recent Halloween. We do a costume contest where there's prizes. Every summer when we do our summer retreat, this is in PEI, we have like an Olympics. You get a stipend to cover the cost of your costume. And I think top prize is $250, second prize is $150, and third prize is $50. So people actually like put time into their costumes. And it's really fun. Spirit must come from the top down. If the CEO is not into it, nobody else will be. That's something I've learned. So I'm usually like first one to go all out on these things. And I do highly encourage people to participate through incentives, like come up with a prize for things. If it's National Hot Dog Day, everybody can order DoorDash and you can get hot dogs, but we're gonna have a competition. Who can eat the most hot dogs at lunch? Winner gets one of those little hot dog thingy things that you put in your kitchen. And this is something we've had for a while, but birthdays off should be a must in all companies. Who wants to work on their birthday? And it's 1 day off. As a company, we can all survive with 1 day off. It is one of the easiest things that we have introduced where people are so grateful that they get their birthday off. It doesn't always work out because it's like a Tuesday or it's a Thursday. So our policy is you can roll it to the Friday before or a week after to the Friday or the Monday. If you want to take the Monday off to celebrate your birthday or the Friday, you can do that. You can roll it back and forth, but you can't throw it into like next month. But you get your birthday off. We actually go so far as to people have filled out an Elfster list. And so we know what people want. And everybody on their birthday gets a gift from the company off their Elfster list that is mailed to them. Yeah, little thing. Yeah, the more fun you make work, the more people are engaged. I love this line because it's like, I feel like people at our company are not employees who are at a job. They're citizens. They help steward it. They care about the community. They want to improve it. When there's a problem, they actually put their hand up and say, hey, I think we need to fix this thing. If you can create citizens out of your employees and not employees, then you're halfway there. I'm almost at the intermission. Culture and community are submitted through, this is, IDEO is this like amazing creative company, and this is a quote, but what are the folklore stories at your company? There's always some legend, like for us, I remember I'm one of the potatoes. I think I'm that guy wearing a wig in a potato. Tracy, you're one of the cows?
No, yeah.
This is our Olympics. People get like outrageous and we do cheers and we have fun. Like that story lives on every time we're like having drinks or like around a campfire. Like we talk about that. So what are the folklore stories at your companies? The last thing is exits. There's only 2 slides and we'll take a break. When do you know it's time to let someone go? And I'm very guilty of, no, we'll give them another chance. No, I really like them. What you are teaching people, if you tolerate poor behavior, is what is acceptable to you and what is acceptable to the company. That is what toleration is about. So we've had to let people go. We have somebody who's going to be leaving in the next few weeks, and It really comes down to how are we going to communicate this? So you have an opportunity every time somebody's leaving the company. If you fire them or if they resign, you have an opportunity to draw a line in the sand over what is no longer acceptable about that particular person's behavior or whatever that led to the exit, and to show the rest of the company how you treat people on the way out. If somebody leaves for bigger salary, bigger opportunity, no problem, but we're still going to take care of them on the way out. Wow, they didn't need to do that. That's pretty cool of them. If somebody is not doing a good job and you let them go and you say they weren't cutting it, but hey, we're giving them 12-week severance, we're going to help them with this, we're going to introduce them to this, people still say, that's fair. That's really cool of them. You have an opportunity to do two things every time you have an exit. I always say take care of them more than necessary. A lawyer, oh, she's not here. Oh, yeah. It's like, there's a phrase and it's like, give them so much severance that it hurts. I'm not that far, but okay.
It's not my saying.
Yeah, I've heard that phrase before and I'm like, all right. I usually like, if like the law says it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we'll give them 8, 10, 12. Because it's not worth it. Yeah. But you make it a no-brainer to sign the release. So if they do take it to a lawyer, they're gonna be like, what are you actually expecting more than this? But it's also like they're going to talk to your other employees. You know it's going to happen. So get ahead of it and say, hey, listen, like Sean, Moniker has offered me like 10-week severance. The other employees who are still there and be like, that was actually pretty fucking good. So just get ahead of it. For 2 weeks salary, it's not a big deal.
I only got my birthday off.
And I always offer, hey, let's talk in a few weeks' time. They never take you up on it. And a letter of recommendation. And then with the rest of the team, this is a great opportunity for you to define in what your company was no longer acceptable. There's a fine line between respecting someone's privacy and the confidentiality around it, but there's also an opportunity to like kind of read between the lines, like, we really tried to work with this individual over the past 6 months, and it just became clear that it was no longer the right seat for them. People who are smart will read between the lines and say, they probably couldn't cut the job. We're not saying anything negative. We're not saying anything. That's fine. Great people, wrong seats. It happens all the time. It is a tight line, but yeah, I would say that to the whole company. Yeah, I definitely am more candid and probably would get myself into trouble in a larger company, but I feel like, what's the harm? People are going to speculate. The biggest thing, especially in a small company, people speculating, rumors. Like the larger the company, there's cliques of like 4 or 5, who cares? Small companies, there's a clique of like half. You got to get ahead of that. And also making sure that you're on the same page with the employee that's leaving. Hey, what are you going to say to the company on Friday when you announce your resignation? Because I need to know that if other employees start asking you questions, we're on the same page. If you tell everybody you left because you're pursuing other opportunities, but then you go and tell your friends at the company that Sean's an asshole and I can't work for him, let's get that story straight. I'm okay if you tell people that, but I need to tell people that too. If it's a positive exit, and it's like, so we had somebody leave because they got actually poached by one of our clients because we trained them so well and they could offer them a US salary, which we couldn't match. There's so much information you can learn from that person. These are the 7 questions we have on our exit interview. It's, were you considering a new role? No, they got poached on a site visit for us and they got offered like 40% more salary. There was no way we were gonna match it. Good on you. But there's so much information that you can learn from somebody who's leaving, because at that point the filter's off and they just do not give a fuck. They will tell you. People who you are actually letting go or firing, it's different. It depends what your relationship with them is. But if you can get even like 2 or 3 of these questions out, there's something to learn. There's always an opportunity to get some sort of information that will help you fix things at your company from people who are leaving, because they don't have to keep the mask on anymore.
Letting someone go, or they're quitting and they're horrific,
Horrific.
cover your ass for wrongful dismissal. When you ask them the questions, they very rarely will say
Yeah.
negative, and then I've had to pull them up in court and said, really? Because when I gave you the exit interview, you said, love the way you were treated, whatever, and they got totally, it really stood out.
That's a very good point. I have not had that scenario where I had to worry about somebody wrongful dismissal. I probably should worry about that stuff, but that's a good point. And nowadays, honestly, with all these like AI things that record your meetings, super helpful to have those recordings just in case. Like, I think that's a good point. You should always record your exit interview. I think we're at intermission. Yeah.
On a daily basis, I talk about employee retention. I think what you're doing is far more impactful than
Wait till my next 2 slides. This is where.
But what I'm trying to say is,
This is the best segue you're giving me right now.
Yeah, I think the culture that you're creating is better than any benefit plan, even cheaper.
Okay.
Because people will object to the cost of implementing this.
Could you stand up and just like right here? People will object to the
Come and
cost.
just start something.
Just
Okay.
say it, because you're
Okay.
literally introducing
I didn't
our next policy.
plan to share, but being in the employee benefit space on a daily basis, I talk about retention with team members. I work with so many different companies, so many different cultures. I think the culture that Sean is creating is far more valuable than any benefit plan you can create. I hear all the time people quit their bosses.
I didn't pay him to say this, but I will now.
But it's valuable. Like, people will quit their bosses before they quit their jobs. They don't like the people they work for. They don't like the culture within the company. It doesn't matter what kind of benefit plan you have. But if people have a really good culture, then investing into something like this is going to be cheaper than benefits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's it.
We've hired a whole bunch of.
Good plan.
We've just hired a few new people, and we've kind of figured out that it takes like 4 to 6 months before they're like actually kind of running on the treadmill. And for the first 4 months, they're actually like a sap on your resources, because people who are great are spending a portion of their time training them and looking over their shoulder. So the amount of time that it takes to like get somebody up to like good is, you want to eliminate as much of that as possible. So the more you can like get people to stay for as long as you can, they have your institutional knowledge, like it's so worth it. So this is generally a quote in my head. I don't even know where it came from, but this is how I treat our people. Treat people like adults and with respect. And in return, they will reward you by proving that they deserve it. How many of you care about your employees? Okay. Does your bereavement policy agree? Does your bereavement policy agree? What I mean by that is, do you have a policy that says if somebody's mother dies, they have to be at work 2 days later? You'd be shocked at how many companies have like 3 days. I don't care who died, you're back 3 days later. You have 4 days maximum for your...
Because the best work happens when they get back on that third day.
Exactly. The same goes for medical leave. The same goes, like, we have a bereavement policy for pets. If somebody's dog dies and this is their dog that's been their buddy for 15 years, like, that's a big deal. Let them take a few days off. I wouldn't take a month off, but I mean, we have that. And that's just like a small little thing to test yourself, is like how you can develop policies that make people actually want to work more for your company because you're human with them in your policies, as opposed to treating them like automatons and robots that, like, somebody died, you have 3 days to get over it, and then you're back. So we don't have that many policies. We have what we call guidelines. We have 3 general guidelines. We call them the golden rules, that are basically based around our values, and they steer all behavior. I love it. My rule for creating policies and culture is create 3 guidelines, and then from there, create the absolute minimum number of policies that you need. In the absence of a policy, let number 1 guide you. I will show you what those are in a second. And then also create all policies as if they were only intended for the leadership team. If you have different tiers, the management's allowed to do this, but congratulations, you've created a caste system. And then finally, if you're shaking your head saying, oh, my people won't act like adults and like I don't trust their judgment, you have a bigger problem. Very straight up. So here's our policy page, and here is, you'd be amazed that, oh, there it is, the link. This is the policies page. You'll see most of them are actually perks. Our policies are medical leave, parental leave, vacation time off, lieu days, because we work on weekends. Oh, we had to introduce this one this year. Whew. There's not many policies because we have 3 very, very clear golden rules, and I will admit these are completely ripped off of Netflix. Do what is in the best interest of Moniker. Treat company money as if it was your own, and if you wouldn't feel comfortable being asked to hop on a call with me to defend your decision, it's probably not the right one. Use your judgment accordingly. And those 3 rules guide everything. Number 4, don't be a dink. We had to introduce that one. Some people, it is to avoid the loophole, the skirters, don't be a dink. Don't exploit a policy. Don't be a dink. And these 4 things, if somebody says to me, we don't have a policy on how much you can spend on expenses during travel. Because if you just wrapped up a 400-person program in Vietnam and you're flying home and you're fucking like, it's been a whirlwind and you want to get wasted at the airport bar, good on you. I get that. And if I call you up and I say, hey, Aaron, you just blew $100 at the bar at the airport, she's like, Sean, I needed it. Okay, I'm good. Do that on the way there, that's a different question. Is it in the best interest? I needed it because I worked my ass up before. And yeah, I would have done that if it was my own money. We don't have a lot of policies because they follow these 3 questions. The example with Netflix, the book that I'll show you in a second, it's called No Rules Rules. Netflix was trying to court Samsung to make it a native app on Samsung TVs when you bought them out of the box. And so Samsung executives were coming to the office, and Reed Hastings was at home asleep, and some young guy on the team was looking around, and he realized that all the TVs in the Netflix headquarters in California were Sony's. And he's like, oh shit, this looks bad. So he went out to Best Buy and he bought like 14 Samsung TVs, and he spent the entire night hanging them all. And he dropped like $15,000 on Samsung TVs. The next day, he submitted his expenses. He talked to Reed Hastings. He said, I'm so sorry, but I bought $15,000 of Samsung TVs. Reed Hastings patted him on the shoulder and said, you did the right thing. Because it was in the best interest of Netflix. He would have done it if it was his own, and he definitely felt comfortable defending that decision. It made Samsung realize that, like, oh, you guys are not Sony people. Those 3 guidelines are basically, for us, the absence of policy. I have so many. There we go. Yeah, at the end of the day, like, I don't think, like, every company can come up with 1,000 policies. What's our policy of this, of that? Da, 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 da. You will go down a rabbit hole trying to come up with a policy. It's more important to just figure out what are the 3 guiding philosophies of your organization about how you want people to act as adults. And from there, I think in a second, I have a slide about, like, people will start to hold themselves accountable to it. There are no rules or policies that some asshole won't find a workaround or loophole. Don't make rules for them. Make guidelines for the rest of the people who actually will follow them. So rigid rules attract creative compliance. We started this a while ago, and then we realized it was getting insane. And I have had horror stories from people who work at Deloitte, people who work at these large organizations who, like, oh, you're allowed to spend up to $100 on a client dinner. Well, guess what? They're going to spend $99 every single time, even if they're not eating $99 worth of food. They're going to order 3 apps because they want 2 bites of this, 2 bites of that, 2 bites of that, because they were allowed to spend $99. But if I see that same thing and I said, Aaron, I keep saying, Aaron, why did you order 3 apps? Did you spend company money as if it was your own? Was this in the company's best interest? Can you defend ordering 3 apps? No, I can't. Great. No, she's only spending $30. So it's like, that's the funny thing about policies is, like, when you say that you're allowed to spend up to $50 on a in-transit lunch, people will spend $50. But if you say, just treat it as your own money, people start to, like, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. It also creates this culture of collective accountability. People police themselves. So we have had situations where somebody is like, oh, well, I want to do this, this, and this. No, don't do that. Because if you do that, they'll introduce a policy or they'll change it. So they do hold themselves accountable, and I've heard stories about like where we do have a culture of this, where at the end of the day, like if you can create this accountability where people aren't trying to like nudge each other on the elbow and say, I know a loophole, then they will tell their colleagues, like, don't do that because you will introduce a policy that we don't want to follow. And the last one is give people agency. So we keep having situations come up where people are like, can you clarify, like, what am I allowed to do here? Like, what is the policy for this or that? And I'm like, that's a great question. I don't know. What would you do? Write it. Write it. Oh, okay. And this is doing what we agreed to and no longer trying to beat the system. This does not always work. There are going to be situations where, like I had a colleague, she was in Costa Rica and she needed to rent a car to go see a property that we were exploring. And she's like, Sean, the only car that's automatic that I can get is like $250, but a manual car is like $50. And I was like, well, do you know how to drive manual? Nope. Okay, well, I guess you're getting the $250 car. And she's like, okay, well, like, what's the limit on this? Like, I feel bad renting a car for $250. I was like, if you don't know how to drive manual, I don't want you getting into an accident. So get the $250 automatic one, and hopefully you can negotiate a little bit better, but it is what it is. And then she says, okay, well, I think we need to have a policy about this. And I said, I don't think we do. You are doing what's in the best interest of Moniker. You are spending company money as if it was your own. You would not rent a car that was manual. And I can justify your decision. If you want us to write a policy about what car rentals look like for us, we will. But she said, no, this makes sense. Hire great people and give them freedom to make decisions and be awesome, then get the hell out of the way. This is a very common quote. Okay, this is where shit gets off the rails. This is our perks. This is our benefits at Moniker. You're either going to think I'm absolutely insane, or you're going to want to work at Moniker afterwards. Both things can be true, and we will take job applications in the new year.
Always hiring.
Always hiring. Perks and benefits should be designed to incentivize people to indoctrinate themselves into your company and culture. I have designed policies. You guys know the phrase golden handcuffs? Golden handcuffs is like people work at banks and accounting firms and they turn 40 or 50 and then they realize that they have such a high salary and they might not like the job, but their lifestyle has gone up and now they can't leave because they can't afford not to have that salary or that thing. It doesn't need to be at salary. It could just be, I have a really good workplace that I can't afford to leave. I don't want to leave this. And the ROI on that is if you don't offer these kind of benefits and somebody can poach, there's no employee on my team that I am worried about leaving for $5,000 more. I would say even $10,000 more. If a competitor offered them $10K, I don't think we'd have people who would leave. And I spend less on... Okay. Yeah, perfect. I want that in writing. But it's like you create this system of policies and benefits where people are like, you know what? I could go make 10K at the competitor, but their whole structure doesn't suit my lifestyle anymore. So the way we've designed perks and benefits are like three general philosophies. Invest in our people. So we have a book club. We pay people to read. It has a bunch of business books. It has a bunch of like other books. Books are assigned values between $25 and $100. If you read that book and you write a book report, you will get paid that money in a gift card. We have a $2,500 per person professional development credit. I would say 1/4 of the team takes advantage of it, but it's there. And this is like, hey, I found a course that I want to take. There's this workshop. There's this conference that I want to go to. Great. Prove that there's a mutual benefit to you and the company for the skill that you're about to learn, and get it approved by your manager and the time off and the plan and all that stuff, you can do it. We cover the full benefits. I know in the US, this is like very rare, but like we cover the full benefits. We're with Sun Life. We do lunch and learns once a quarter. I just did one on investing. It's shocking how many 25 and 30-year-olds do not know what a TFSA is and RRSP is. So we're trying to help them understand how to invest in your future. We introduced an emergency advance fund. I also realized that a lot of 30-year-olds are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't know how to save. They don't know what an emergency fund is. And so we said, you can take a 2-week gross pay advance, no questions asked. The only person you have to answer to is our finance person. She's lovely and she's a vault, but if she deems that your reason is acceptable, you don't have to ask anybody else permission. And that not one person has taken advantage of that, but I think for a lot of like 28-year-olds, 29-year-olds, 31-year-olds, it's peace of mind that, like, my whole thing was don't ever charge a $5,000 emergency fridge fix or leak to your credit card. You will get hosed on your debt. It's okay. We can loan it to you, and then we spread out the repayment over 10 paychecks. Not one person has taken advantage of it. We have a health and wellness credit. This was introduced through a pulse check. Somebody said it would be great if we could have free money. I said, yeah, of course. So we introduced it. We were like, here's $500. You can use it for, we had to stipulate what it's for. You can use it for gym memberships, fitness app subscriptions, meditation app subscriptions like Headspace, and things like that. You cannot use it to buy outfits. You cannot use it to buy weights. You cannot use it to buy a yoga mat. But we do that through, this one is a sketchy, like $500 comes in. Yeah, we don't do that through an HSA. Too much paperwork. But we could.
It's easy. It's called a wellness spending account.
Yeah. Well, until CRA gives me a knock on the door, we're good. New employees get $300. We're a fully remote team, so new employees get $300 to set up a new desk, get an ergonomic chair, whatever. That credit resets every 2 years. So if you realize after 2 years, damn, I got the wrong chair, you can do it. Most people take advantage of that one. You can get lighting, you can get a bonsai tree if it makes you feel peaceful at your desk, whatever you want. Referral incentives, this is really helpful. If you introduce us to a new hire, we will give you $2,000 if they make it to the 3-month mark. I would like to extend that to the 6-month mark because we've run into some situations. But yeah, if you're not using your people to find new people, you are missing out.
We found chopping that up made a world of difference. So it's $500 if you introduce us to somebody, $1,000 if they make it to end of the port period, and another $1,000 if they make it to the end of the year. And just
yeah. How invested is that person? And like, are you doing okay? Do you need anything? Can I help you? Like, they're invested, right?
Sean, where's the retirement plan?
We do not do RRSP matching, and we don't have a retirement plan yet. Nobody's allowed to retire. We're all working till we're 80. No RSP matching yet. That's literally free money. Every company can figure this part out. Help them fall in love with what you do. So like my old forum mate, Shane Bennett, you guys know him, I'm sure. He's in the automotive world. I was trying to encourage him to introduce some sort of benefit or policy that integrated auto could do to get people to fall in love with cars. Let them, once a summer, they could rent a Porsche and go cruising up in Caledon just to fall in love with cars or whatever it is. We're in the travel industry. We have a work from wherever stipend. You are allowed $2,000 every year to cover the cost of going and working from wherever you want in the world. We had somebody who just recently spent a week in Puerto Vallarta at an Airbnb, and then her mom came and visited her, and they had a week vacation. Because she spent half of the time working and half of the time on vacation, 50% of the flight, 50% of the accommodation, 50% of the co-working space was covered. You can do that every single year, and people appreciate that we have a remote environment, and they appreciate, wow, being around different places in the world is really awesome. As a retreat company, this is pretty no-brainer. We do a big one in January. We're going to Tulum. We've been to Nicaragua. We've been to Cartagena. In the summers, we do it a little bit more chill. We go to PEI. We're going to Muskoka this summer. We have something called a baller budget. Couldn't come up with a better name. We incentivize our travel teams or project managers to upsell our clients. And a portion of that upsell goes back to what we call a baller budget. That can be used on upgrading to premium or business. It can be used for extending your stay at the hotel. It can be used for getting a massage after the program is done. Our 30-year-olds, 32-year-olds who normally couldn't afford a business class seat, this is like one of the biggest perks that they love. And I have a lot of people now who they're like rabid about trying to upsell our clients because we've introduced this as like a commission thing. Every employee at our company gets 50,000 Airplan or Marriott points per year. Why? Go travel. Go stay at cool hotels that you couldn't afford with cash. Makes people fall in love with what we do. For whatever you do, figure out what that is. It could be different points. It could be a gift card for something else. If, Vanessa, you are in the bridal industry, it could be, I don't know what that would be.
What could it be?
Go crash a wedding. Go crash a wedding. Or, I don't know. Yeah, do something. And then we also, and I think every company who's in a customer-facing field should do this. Every single employee is empowered, sorry, not every single employee, every single team, our teams are 3, is empowered to spend up to $2,000 on surprise and delight without permission, without approval. So if they're on site with a client and a client has been talking about how they really, really wish they could have had a photo booth at their final night or something, get it done, make it happen. They'll be surprised and delighted. They will love us more. You don't need approval. And that loyalty that it generates, and also just like the authority that it empowers our people with, like they appreciate it. They like the smiles that we got out of that is really important. And then the last thing is for me is have fun. So we do birthdays off. In the summer, this is very controversial. June, July, August, we moved to 4-day work weeks. I was very skeptical, as every entrepreneur would be. Like, I think everybody's just gonna phone it in. They're gonna put 6 hours in the other days. I did not actually notice a decline in productivity. We moved from 5 by 8, 5 days by 8 hours, 40 hours, to 4 by 9, 4 days by 9 hours, 36. So they still get 4 hours off. And honestly, I would like spot check. I would call people at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock just to see if they were working. And I honestly think there was a mutual respect between our company and us that they were like, yeah, I will actually put in 9, if not more, because they really enjoyed Fridays off. And me personally, oh man, it's so helpful to get like things done. We have a young son. Like the amount of shit that you can get done on a Friday when everybody else is working is unbelievable. We have a Halloween contest every year. It's very serious. It's very serious. We have a holiday party coming up in 2 weeks. We will drop a lot of money on this. We will fly in the entire team plus their spouses using Airplan points, because we collect a lot of Airplan points, to Toronto, and we will throw a bash where we invite parents, we invite friends, we invite family. It's a big part of our culture. We run a Secret Santa where we will match up to $50. So everybody has an Elfster. If you don't know what Elfster is, it's a great website. You can put in like things that you like. I highly recommend for life. If you spend $50, we will match $50. So people can get up to a $100 gift. If you spend $30, we'll give you $30. It encourages people to get things that they actually want and not some like crappy little thing off Amazon. People love it. And we do the exchange at the holiday party in person. And then culture by committee, which I'm about to get to, which is the last big slide. And then we are done. So we hired, we hired a people person thinking that, oh, great, like I'll just like download all my ideas about culture and we didn't want an HR director, we wanted a culture person. They came in, we thought we made it very clear during the interview process and the job description that we want you just to help us enhance and propagate the culture, not focus on HR and policies. That didn't go so well. After 6 months, it was very clear that they wanted to be an HR director. They had very differing views on culture and how we do things. We let them go. So that saved us, I don't know, like 80, 90K. And I was like, well, shit, there's way too much work for me or somebody else to put on that hat. But we still need people to do that. And I realized that like there's enough people on our team who are so keen to get involved in culture that we introduced something called culture by committee. What is that? Where's my mouse cursor? There we go. So we have divvied up all of the things that our people person used to do. She would organize our holiday party. She would organize our socials. We're a remote company, so we did meetups in person. Our big January retreat, our summer retreat, all the celebrations I talked about, learning and development, which is lunch and learns and things like that. Applying for like awards, our wellness and balance. And we split them up into roles that we pay people in the company to do. The total value of this is 17 grand. I was paying somebody 80 grand to do this before. And the engagement that we get, I have people who are, first, for me, it means I have a meeting with each of these people at least once a month to talk about something that I enjoy. Like, what are we doing for so-and-so's birthday? Like, hey, somebody's 5 years coming up. What are you thinking for that? We're right now applying for like great places to work or something. Like, oh, great. Like, it gives me a touch point with all of these people. But at the same time, everybody now has like an input and a contribution and agency and like building part of our culture. People fucking love this. We had, for the most part, for roles that were like 2 seats, we had 4 or 5 people applying for them. It actually became kind of like playing a game of Tetris to fit where people went. We created deliverables. We created OKRs. Like, this is how it works. And it went over extremely well. You don't have to pay people, but we just figured, why not? Like, what's a grand? A grand for us was not that much money for somebody to do what is realistically like 40, 50 hours of work. And it allowed them to justify like prioritizing it as opposed to putting it on the back burner. You can change the numbers. You can make it $500 or even $250. But culture by committee was, I think so far has turned out extremely, extremely well for our team. Whoop. Okay, we're at the end. Here are the 6 takeaways. Culture is defined by what you celebrate, celebrating good behavior, and what you tolerate in terms of bad behavior. Use every single touch point of your employee journey to figure out how you can draft good people into your organization that fit the culture you want, because that, at the end of the day, is going to be the culture that you have. Create a system of feedback loops, so pulse checks, anonymous or not, one-on-ones, and then the mid-year and end-of-year reviews. A lot of people disagree with this one, but just treat people like adults. Don't create too many policies. Give them agency and judgment and let them figure it out. The people who consistently show you that they don't have good judgment, great. They're showing you that they don't belong at your company. And we try to get people as involved as possible. If there's a policy we don't have or needs clarification, great, clarify it for us. What would you think we should do? Because then it's now like, hey, all right, we agreed to do this, and we used to have this big culture of like trying to find the loopholes and maximizing everything, and then we switched it, and then all of a sudden everybody was like, nobody takes advantage of the policies anymore. And then there is a way to use policies, perks, and benefits to reinforce your culture. So I hope that was helpful. These are the 4 books that have influenced me the most. I'll just go through them all. This one, I would say probably the most. This is Reed Hastings. He's the founder of Netflix. He talks about, this book is great. It's about how like when they started, how they had like just chaos. And then they introduced those 3 golden rules, which I've adopted. And how they are all about treating people like adults. And if people don't show you that they are adults, then get rid of them. Worth Doing Wrong. Arnie is an incredible speaker. He's an EO member from EO Nashville. He's on the EMP circuit, and he does speak to other forums. His whole philosophy is like, just basically make work fun, which I've taken a lot from. Leaders Eat Last is a great book about servant leadership, about how like leaders should understand that at the end of the day, like you are there to make sure that your people have the resources, the support, and the confidence to do their best. And then 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. If you work with anybody under the age of 35, read this book. It will really help you understand how things work. So that's it. Right on time. 2 hours.